Did wake up one day and you're like, "Oh, how is this doing that?" All right.
All right, let's call to order. It's 5 o'clock. Next on the agenda is public input. Is anybody from the public? Like to stand up, Kid? You have 2 minutes.
Just. Never been that short. I just wanted to let you know that we had a citizen complaint last night at the town council meeting concerning Kiwanis Park, which is one of our smallest, but as far as the week was concerned, it was the biggest problem.
Right,
Kids, or I won't say kids, people. Parking where they're not supposed to next to the park, making a lot of noise, leaving a lot of trash.
Yeah.
The woman who lived across the street said that she went over and picked up a lot of the trash. Because it's her neighborhood. And this is mainly a police thing, not park department kind of thing. And she did call the police, and the police came and made people move their cars if they were parked next to the park itself. But we thought it was best at least that we let you know that it happened.
no. Thank you, Ken. Thank you. Anyone else? Let's say hi, just say your name and address.
I'm Jan Tillema. Our address is 8240 Howard Avenue, Munster.
Yeah,
And I want to talk about the Grove Park basketball court issue.
okay,
For many years, as soon as the weather becomes nice, it's a magnet for really loud, obnoxious basketball players. There's a lot of swearing, really loud language. It's very disturbing to the whole neighborhood. A lot of cars are parked all the way along Ridgeway in the walking path area as well. We can't even have our windows open in the evening because, or actually anytime they're there, because the noise comes into our house. It's so loud and inappropriate. You can also hear it in the street. on Howard in front of the houses sometimes depending how loud it is. I feel like the basketball court's a detriment to the neighborhood and any park goers trying to have a positive experience. The park hosts soccer practices and games, tennis courts, children on the playground, and practices on the ball field, as well as people renting the pavilion for parties. I can't imagine renting the pavilion and then having to hear that as my party is going on, or taking my kids to the playground and having swearing while my kids are playing. For many years, we've also hesitated to have guests or plan parties in our yard because we never know what nights these basketball players are going to be there. And many times it'll be for hours on end. Since the recent removal of one of the hoops, there has been a significant improvement in the noise level. And it appears that many more of the neighborhood kids have had a chance to play there. But there are still nights where it's really loud and kids swear a lot. But it is better than it was. And we've lived in this town since 1996, and it used to be a very positive thing to have the park behind us, but it's become a negative over the years. We do appreciate the new signage and removal of the hoop, but we would really hope that at minimum, the one hoop stays removed and maybe have both of them removed, because I don't think this is probably going to completely resolve the situation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaking to us. Anyone else would like to speak? State your name and your address.
Sure.
Oh,
Oh, someone else.
we'll get you that.
Yeah, Thomas Ryan, I'm 8119 Madison Avenue and
Your last name?
Ryan,
Okay, right.
Thomas Ryan.
Okay.
And yeah, the park issue as far as basketball. It is an issue. It's possibly an issue. It's been an issue since my children were small. Now that my grandchildren are there, like you go to have soccer practice and stuff, and the language is atrocious. It's not something that's been new. It's been ongoing. The original complaints that I had with the park had fallen on deaf ears. I know people have taken it upon themselves to take down the hoops in the past, and I would love to see the hoops come down, stay down, remain down, never go back up. Sorry, but you know what? If you want to play basketball, get the freestanding one that I have in my driveway at your house and go play at your house. That's what I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fine.
I'm Vicki Berg. I live at 939 Ridgeway Avenue.
Okay.
And the original owners of our house actually paid to install those courts back in 1989 or whenever they built that. Which is something we learned from our neighbors. We've been there for some time. But I want to piggyback on what everyone said. The issues have exponentially increased since the pandemic. And I feel a lot of it was tied to all the park closures in Illinois, the shutdown of the Hammond Park with the shooting. And I know it's a very sticky situation. I started a note on May 21st at 9:15 p.m. because I went to bed at 9. And people were still playing and it was loud, and we are directly across so we can see and monitor like every day. And I'm not a Karen, I'm not somebody that wants to call the police because I feel truly police have way more important issues to deal with, and it's not a morality police issue here. But it really is uncomfortable. And since that one group, I have like all these ideas, what could we do to handle this appropriately? Without making it a big issue in the news or anything. And I never once thought removing one of those hoops would have the ability to virtually solve that problem overnight. I would hope that for sure the one whole post comes down, but I would not be opposed to taking down the whole court. I thought before, why wouldn't we turn that into like a pickleball court? And then I saw you guys put the pickleball lines on the other court. But I just wanted to say, it's always in the evening after 6 p.m. and it's groups of 20 or more, sometimes 30 men playing. It's not young kids. And it's MF this, the N-word constantly, very aggressive. I've seen families leave the park because of it. We have a lot more families in the neighborhood now pushing strollers, little kids. And it'd be nice for the family when they come home from work to be able to take them to the park before bedtime, stuff like that. But you can't do it because it's so much. And I know when I was a kid growing up, my mom had to tell the teenagers, don't swear, the kids are playing in the sandbox. It's like an age-old issue. But in an established neighborhood, a park full court basketball is not appropriate. It's more appropriate along like a busy street or in a business district where there's not so closely located to all the events that are going on in the park. And I just think that at the very least, that one whole, the whole pole needs to come down because it's made, like, we can breathe again. And I'm able to sit out on the porch at night. And I was getting real strategic about where and when I could be out there. Because I'm trying to be understanding and it's a great outlet for people to relieve stress. It's a positive thing, but in general, it's not an appropriate location in an established neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys coming. Anyone else?
Yeah, hi. I'm Dan Burke. I live at 939 Ridgeway also with my wife Nikki. And the basketball situation is horrible. We can't leave our windows open every Father's Day, every Mother's Day, every Saturday, every Sunday, almost every night when I get home from work. This is what we're forced to listen to. The whole gamut of swear words. There are what I think personally are drug deals going down at that park. They're talking about weapons, they're talking about everything. And just like you said, piggyback into what everybody else said, it's a big problem. And I've got so many friends that live on Ridgeway and Tapper, because that's where we're at in that brick house, that red brick house there on Ridgeway and Tapper. And I know so many residents, I'm sorry they're not here with us tonight, but they feel the exact same way. We can't have our windows open. We can't. We can't enjoy the park. And there's a lot of people that can't enjoy the park either. And I know plenty of people with young kids, they don't even want to go for ice cream. They don't even want to go near there. Not to mention the garbage. Not to mention just everything that's going on over there. And since that one hoop has been taken down, it has been such a relief to actually enjoy. We moved here 5 years ago. We love the neighborhood and everything, but I really didn't know what was happening there at the court until it started presenting itself to us. And it's just bad. I don't know, do we have a joint thing with Highland, with our parks and recreation? Is that something that,
The facilities,
okay,
like the pool.
That wouldn't pertain to the.
Yeah, this should pertain to a
Park is a public.
okay,
It's a public.
Yeah.
open space.
okay. But to get those courts out of the residential area and put them into more of a commercial area where the sound is getting absorbed by the cars and the businesses and stuff, I don't think would be such a bad compromise. But right in the middle, I mean, I look at the houses there and everything, or everybody that lives there. And we can't open our windows. We can't have friends over, like you said. We try to plan parties and it's just constantly nonstop.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything to say? Not anything? Nope. Okay, well, thank you guys for your input. Really appreciate it. All right, next up is administrative matters and approval of the Parks Board minutes.
I have overhead, no questions, so I would motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Everybody get a chance to look at the voucher? Any questions?
Are those showings gonna be there just until that building is?
Yeah.
So it's just a rental?
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
I just did the Park Board minutes.
Yeah,
You did the vouchers.
no, you did the minutes. You actually made the motion.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Now
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'm reading vouchers and hearing minutes.
You need those figures. I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers as presented in our packet.
Oh, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Next up is the report. June board report.
You have a written report in your packets from me. I would leave it at that, and unless you have any questions of anything that you'd like more detail on or explanation of it, you could have more than those.
Pretty straightforward.
I mean, the sound system is ish, it's working.
They just got finishing touches of the stage, yeah. There's a few finishing touches of the stage and the sound system there that he's done. The pool sound system likely, we're getting by right now. They got a speaker at every pole working. We're getting by right now out there. Which is great. It's been working good this year. But it likely won't be replaced until once we close for the year.
Yeah.
And all the Wi-Fi. Doing
Yeah,
what it
all the
needs to do.
Wi-Fi is working good. Yep. But the last one that we have, we just got new antennas in today. They're replacing the antenna that's on the top of the hospital to send to the shelter at Centennial Park. They should be doing that this week to get a better connection to that one building. The shelter at Centennial is kind of in, but we can still use the program. They just got to go on site to do that.
Okay, that's good. Report, okay, items for discussion and action. First up is the Grove Park basketball court info.
In your packets, I gave you just kind of a summary of what, when that decision at the staff level was made, Wednesday, May 24th, when we, after hearing some similar complaints of what you've heard today, wanted to kind of just document this, to have it for you and to have you bring it up today to confirm, review that decision that staff made last month. And I shared some other additional information in this as far as some of the courts that we have in town here, where they're all at, how the size, almost all of our courts are now half court. We only have one site that is a full court still. And then just some other comparison of some of the neighboring communities, how many half courts they each have and how many full courts of basketball that they have in their park system. So just wanted to have that for you as you consider, your input on that particular issue.
So have you thought of any alternatives to the?
I think
basketball
right-
court? I'm all for pickleball.
Me too.
Let's get the seniors in there.
I
They'll be gone by 6.
I think there has been a difference of use of the current court since we've taken the one hoop down. I think that things have definitely improved from where they were, but they were pretty serious. You
Pretty
heard some of the
intense,
comments
yeah.
out there. What I've also noticed is a lot more bikes over there now. And I think these are younger kids who weren't getting the opportunity to play because it was really grown adults out there playing full court games.
Right.
And so I don't know now again, maybe they're from out of town or not, but there's bikes laying next to the court and you're seeing younger kids out there playing on a daily basis. So I feel like they're at least, we're satisfying the needs of the kids at that younger level versus the adults. Now, obviously everyone needs their own recreation time, but I think that is a nice, change, at least that from what I've noticed as I've gone through the park I think a lot of you know that I'll walk through the park or ride my bike that way on my way home. So
Yeah.
I'll see it firsthand that way as well.
Yeah.
You're not looking at anything from us. I mean, you guys made the decision. It seems to be working better and probably long-term, you would probably see this as something for the master plan that we're going through here in the near future that would allow more input. I mean, I know there's
Yep.
3 and I know they represent more that it always happens, especially for public meetings. But I think during the master plan, then you could sort of program it into what it really should or could be. It could be more tennis courts. It could be, who knows what it could be, but it could be a new sport that comes up that causes people to break their knees. Like pickleball.
Well, and it is one of those where I think a lot of our parks, and I think the master plan, as we go through that process, will help define that is we've really, put 10 pounds of potatoes in our 5-pound parks, that we're jam packing things into them. And I think you look at this as, the level of, I look at that, it's a neighborhood park. Yeah, you're going to have others from across town or outsiders coming to it from time to time based upon what's there. But, you have, it's not as the high level of like Centennial, which is more of a regional park.
Right.
Or community level park, like Community Park, or even West Lakes that are those larger ones that are pulling in some of the further tournament play of some of the athletics that they might have. But I think that's where you do start to look and see, all right, how can we improve upon that. I think the area that you may want to consider, and it's something that I think could come up in the master plan, is as a policy. As the policy setter for our parks, do you want to look at it and say, across the board, maybe the consideration of no full courts in basketball? We haven't had them recently, as vocal as maybe what has presented itself here at Grove, but we've definitely had it out at Circle Park in that neighborhood as well.
We have, and I know that Dan and I can both speak to this because we've been on the board for a number of years now, and the most recent incident was White Oak, when we turned White Oak into a pickleball park. And there were residents, that used to be a full court. I can speak from experience, having a teenager myself, and I was a T-ball coach at that time. So that was, it was rough to have to listen to that. And I remember going to them myself and talking and saying, you know, guys, let's keep the language PG and G preferably. And it's hard. It is really hard. And we strategically chose Grove Park because of its location and proximity to the police station. That was made, that decision was made consciously. It was not, it was one of the last remaining full course. It was made strictly because of its proximity and location to the police station. So the idea, and I believe we put something out to the public, that if you noticed this behavior, call police. Because that was the intent of that. So but I certainly understand everyone's frustration with that because it shouldn't happen. Unfortunately, I don't remember which speaker said it, but I think the pandemic did. You know, I have friends in Highland and Hammond and Dyer and stuff, and anytime a full court, you know, these are the same groups of people that go from town to town. When one court closes, they find another one open, and they don't learn the lesson, unfortunately. And which is unfortunate. Because it's the same group that I'm fairly certain go from town to town. So I believe that you're right on just in leaving it at a one court for now. I just looked up on the repair and replacement schedule, and this one is due probably for review next year anyway. So I don't know that we have budgetary leeway to do anything at this point right now with it, but I mean, it's certainly on the slate to be done next year anyway.
Is it possible just to take down one pole, just to show them that it's not coming back?
Yeah, I think I think
That
that
way kids can have some fun. but-
Mark, if I could just ask one question though, do we have anything has anyone called the police at all on this?
Do we have a record?
Is there any record of a police call been made to the police department?
They've told me that there is, but I haven't gotten an official any copies of police reports for them.
Okay,
But they have
because
reported that there has been.
I just like fairness
Yeah.
and warning, and that's it. So, you know, if you've been warned, if you've been
Right,
advised that something's going to happen.
Yeah.
A police report should accompany anything.
Yeah.
So if you can reach out to the police department, I would like to see something that at least they've been warned.
Documentation.
Documented that this has been an ongoing issue.
and a lot of times, I mean, when the calls come to us, I mean, we'll try to absorb it and understand, and again, I think you hear their sympathy there. I mean, it is a recreational game. It's a popular game on TV and high school. We're all proud of our kids, you know, when they're growing up and playing, and it's just a matter of, you know, balancing that with not affecting a neighborhood to a detriment, which
And-
is
and that
really
is
what
it.
I think that was the underlying statement. that I-
Well,
Yeah.
we thought White Oak at the time, White Oak didn't have any houses around it, so we thought that was a safe place, and then they built a development next to it, right? So that, you know, we had to do
I used
that,
to play basketball at Beach Park
right?
all the time.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, we left it the way we left it.
One place I've thought that we might be able to put even a full court basketball court would be at the south end of Community Park.
Yeah.
Which has the hospital on one side, the school on another side, and a medical building on the third side, and the park to the fourth. So even if the kids or adults who are playing there are making a lot of noise, it's not the same as being right across the street from residential housing. And there's parking.
My policy would be half courts. I
In-
agree with that.
In Munster.
You can play basketball. I played basketball for a long time. Half court. You can go in the game, you can play. You want to run wind sprints? Go win and run someplace else.
And yes, the police have been called over the years, because I personally did it multiple times when my children were small, so. So
I would say we would agree with the position of the staff and then we would look at it again when the master plan comes through pending what Michael would like as far as police reports.
You know what, I was there when we took down the last full
I'm with
board,
you.
and there was a lot of pushback on the reasons why, and that's why I'm gonna warn you again about some of the terminology that you use when you say, you know.
But the
kill other people.
but the
That's-
pickleball court is
Just to
becoming-
clarify that, well, Mike, those were comments that were made to me, that
I-
I was
no, I
asking,
get- I-
sharing with you.
No,
Those are not the reasons that the
Certainly get
decision
that.
was made.
I certainly get that, but we want to be conscious of it, we want to be aware of sort of.
Absolutely, but I'm also open and transparent that I'm gonna tell you that those are some of the comments that were made, so I'm gonna share that with you. And I can tell you.
I just
like-
personally don't like the term.
Sure,
Because it can have dual meanings, it can have 2 or 3 meanings, so I'm just very cautious of that.
Yeah.
Personally,
understood.
And the pickleball court is popular at White Oak now.
it is very popular, yeah, absolutely.
Scott, did you have something to say?
Circle Park, have we gotten any complaints about the full court there?
We have, I haven't in the office, our maintenance staff has when they've been out there picking up garbage and
Okay.
cleaning up the park or mowing the park. So I mean, it is, and again, and it's interesting because Circle Park is quite possibly our smallest park in the whole park system in town. I mean, it's definitely not a half an acre.
But
you
I
know?
will tell you, the last time I went by, it was filled with high school kids.
Right.
Our kids and surrounding high school kids that are,
Right.
they play AAU together.
Yes.
I know who the kids were, but it was not the adults that were at Grove.
Expressway, Brady. Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
No problem. I just want to make sure that we have that input and we follow up and kind of support it from the staff. as well.
Definitely. All right, next up is the Hospice Heritage Park request and the other request.
Yes, so you have a request from the hospice of the Calumet area. They already are having, and planning on having their Paws in the Park event. I'm sorry, this is the wrong.
Heritage
Stop
Park.
talking about. This is Heritage Park request from the hospice of the Calumet area. They want to use Heritage Park. They're having their event at Cloister in the Woods. Their formal and inside part of the event. They want to go into Heritage Park. They do a part of their fundraiser that is a time to butterflies, and they want to use the park on that side of it on that particular day. And we really don't see any, there's no, while normally we, you know, the only rentals we typically have, there are weddings and so forth. This is a unique opportunity for someone to have the indoor portion at Cloister Woods, walk into the park and do kind of an outdoor fun portion of it. It ties into our Monarch City USA designation the town recently did, so I think that that's kind of neat. And we're just recommending the approval of their request, so we waive the fees, so we don't charge them to allow them to have it on that particular Sunday of August 27th. There's no additional burden that we're gonna have from garbage or traffic or anything else that we need there. So, but unfortunately didn't have that, so I brought it to you with a request to allow them to have the use of Heritage Park on that day and waive any fees that would have been applicable.
And they're a nonprofit, right?
They are a nonprofit. And Rebecca is here from, if you had any questions
Hi.
from the hospice, she could answer any additional questions as well.
I would agree with that motion.
And there's no other bookings, obviously.
Yeah,
No,
I think you guys have all done your due
Yes.
diligence.
Yep.
So I'll make the motion for staff's recommendation.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Okay. All right, next up is Paws in the Parks request.
Paws in the Park event. So this is a request from Humane Indiana over at Community Park where they're gonna have their Paws in the Park on Saturday, September 9th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. What they're really seeking is, this is the 30th anniversary of their event, and they have a partner with Three Floyds. They're asking your permission to have a beer garden in the park that day as part of the event. So that's what we're here for, asking you for that. If permission was granted, I put some ideas in there of, that we would require a certificate of insurance naming the town as additional insured. There are rules set forth by the state of Indiana's excise department for a one-day special beer and wine permit. So that's something they're already familiar with that. They would have to arrange boundaries to define a beer garden. They'd have to provide security for it and any other requirements that you would deem necessary. But From a staff perspective and review, we would recommend approval of it. It's from 9 to 2. I don't think that this.
That was my question. Are they gonna keep the time from 9 to 2? Because the beer garden at night from 9 to 2 seems a little.
There's always opportunity to drink.
I mean,
I've seen some people.
I'm too old.
I just wanted to verify that was you and not Nate.
I could.
That's correct, yeah.
And they want to limit, they're gonna cut the beer garden off at 2 p.m.
That would be, yes, that's what the.
On a Saturday afternoon, they're
Saturday
gonna cut it off at
And
2
any,
p.m.
I'm taking that as a motion. I'll second it.
and any fees.
I mean, yeah, it's fine because, I mean, I'm just,
I'm assuming they're gonna clean up after them,
Yes.
including the pause too.
I take my dog to this event every year and it's a great event. They run a great event. I mean, it's fun for the dogs.
Well rested up.
I just don't know that, like, my dog, I mean, I don't know, that doesn't make sense to me, whatever, I mean, that's how they're gonna raise money, then we do not wanna stifle their fundraising efforts, so. Yeah,
And to get this permit, we wouldn't be paying for it.
No, they would absorb all the fees to deal with it, so I think your motion, I would say, as long as they're abiding by the rules set forth by the state for having a beer garden on site for that 1 day permit.
yeah.
And they're gonna clean up.
I motion.
Yeah, it works.
Well, second.
All in favor?
Oh, it's not-
Aye.
Aye.
I didn't beer it.
Okay.
Everyone's gonna leave happy today.
Well, now my dog is gonna have a problem with this one. This next one.
21.
It will be coming.
I'm talking about the fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Family Christian Center event park request.
So this is a request that we just received here a little while ago, probably within the last 2 weeks. But it's something they're looking to do as soon as tomorrow evening. Family Christian Center, off of 45th Street is looking to have a fireworks display, to celebrate their pastor's 70th birthday. And, they have already received permission from the state and from the fire chief. The fire chief sent that information to me this morning. So the only approval that is holding up them doing this would be from us here at this level. We have looked at it. They did supply a map. They're going to be, the event itself will be on their grounds. They're just using the far north end of West Lakes Park as their launch location for the fireworks. So we've reviewed it. We have their certificate of insurance already in hand. We do think that this is a community involved type of decision that I think would be acceptable from the standpoint. We have put in, I would recommend that we do approve it with a couple of stipulations that they already have given us certificate of insurance. We have the written proof from the Munster Fire Chief. They have put in their request letter that they would be responsible for repairing or replacing any damage done to the park and cleaning up from this event.
Okay.
That they also would follow all local and state permit requirements for fireworks displays, which is also already kind of in the works with their permits.
Mark, what about our local ordinance? We have a local ordinance for fireworks. I mean, how is this? I believe it's 20, it's in the news, read your news, folks.
They've got like,
The 28th.
but you can also deem it by, if you allow it to be acceptable, you can do it. That can. So there's certain dates that are set out, and then if local jurisdiction allows for it, they can do it. I'm assuming.
I believe locally that the fire chief has that authority, and with the written notice that he gave us that permitting this, that I believe that would be.
Like if Memorial Day, 4th of July, 3 days before and after certain timeframes.
It's 5 days, and it includes
Yeah,
Juneteenth
WTOB.
and the 4th of July and New Year's Eve.
So, and of course, they would have all the extinguishers and
Yes.
ready just in case, because it's a little dry outside right now.
Yes, and that's something else that also just
Yeah.
fencing or roping off that area of the park. And that was the important part why I wanted to make sure if there was damage to the park, that would be included in that as far as that repair or replacement of. But also posting signage up around the pathway at the far north end of the park, so those who are walking are aware that, hey, this is gonna be closed at this time.
Has there been any public,
Pushback.
no, not public outreach to tell people, especially Westlake?
There really hasn't, because it's been such a last
Because
minute.
all of a sudden they're gonna be sitting in their rooms watching whatever they're watching, and all of a sudden
Yeah,
it's gonna happen. So is there a way to do, I mean, I don't know how we could do it necessarily. I mean, I think everyone understands that the service happens on Wednesdays and Sundays. There's expectation. There'll be some traffic, but I mean, my two things are, to your point about dogs, you're gonna, who knows? I mean, there's some, you can't do everything about dogs. I have two and they don't always listen to me, but there's some way to at least let people know so they're not sitting in Westlakes and you've got explosions and things
Well, you just
happening.
gotta pay for that stuff. I have a dog that I have to take out like.
Right. No, I get it.
7:30, and or else she's not going outside till the next morning.
And then my second thing would be about traffic. I don't think they have traffic, do they have traffic control on Wednesdays? I know they have on Sundays.
I'm not aware.
Oh, we got somewhere. We got Dustin, they do have traffic control on Wednesdays. Cause it's 45th, as everyone knows, is down to one lane. And I'm assuming a big celebration of the 70th birthday of the pastor is gonna draw more people on a Wednesday service than probably a atypical one. And some people are just interested in fireworks in general, they
Maybe.
come through that area, so it's gonna be a.
I think the size of the event, regardless of whether there's fireworks or not, that'll become an issue, and I'm sure that they are planning appropriately for it. I mean, what they're really seeking from us is that the permission to use the north end of the park as that launch location, so.
Is there any way they could let people of Westlake know? Can we let them know? Cause someone's gonna
So
say,
this is nothing to do with fireworks. We're literally just approving them to use the park.
I understand,
Or fireworks.
but for fireworks.
Right.
I just wanna make sure that when place starts blowing up, that we try to let them know.
Dustin,
They do have electronic sign.
Dustin has something to say. He might be able to answer.
There you go.
The
Come
police
back
have
with
the ability to issue rave alerts which geo-fences certain areas, and residents who opt in with their cell phone number can get push notifications for emerging happenings. We've done this with water main breaks, we've done this with other special events.
Okay.
So we have a department head meeting tomorrow morning. And I can bring this up to the chief if you'd like me to.
that, or even on the Facebook page. I mean, you're always, they're not gonna reach everybody, and someone was always gonna say they never were told, but at least you get it to some people and they can sort of,
Well, we can put something on the town's Facebook.
Work it through.
On the Facebook page, you can put it on the website, I mean, and.
I'm with, I get it. The dog starts hearing something at 7, they're gone. I mean, they're,
Sure.
and I don't want that to someone to have a regular appointment at 8:30 and then all of a sudden that doesn't happen. So we tell them last minute, we're sorry, but enjoy the fireworks.
I mean, I think we can attempt to get the word
Again,
out.
I don't think it is to fireworks. They're gonna use it, whether, they're gonna probably push it into the parking lot if we say no, so that's.
I don't want to say no to anyone's living 70 years. I just want to make sure that they
I,
tell people
Don't like
that what they're doing. I love fireworks.
What date is it?
Tomorrow.
Something go on there. Stay out of their fleets tomorrow.
Absolutely, I love fireworks.
not a fan.
So anyways, I would
We
say,
could also ask Public Works if they have an available message board to put one.
I would
I
say,
think
Well,
Dustin
that's
had
a
the
good
right
idea.
idea, just with the.
I would say
Probably
vote
have the right
yes. I'd make the motion to approve it. Pass with turn of 70, but if we could get some communication out through any means normally possible, just so we're doing the residents a solid.
Yeah.
That's all in one motion, by the way.
Even though doing a solid.
Do them a solid, which I like to see that in the minutes. Mike's not gonna suck it, but he hates fireworks.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
No fireworks guy.
Opposed? Nay, yes.
Nay.
Doesn't like that.
We'll make you do it.
I know where I'm gonna go.
All right,
Your house.
all right, that's all.
Hey, on the floor, love them, I just don't want to throw them here.
All right,
No, I agree.
I get that.
For 3 days. I
All
got-
right, up next is Centennial Park new golf building. Award.
We're not there yet.
Oh,
Frank Hammond.
Frank Hammond, sorry.
So Frank Hammond court improvements, this is something that was on our repair and replacement schedule, calling for crack filling and recoloring of the tennis, volleyball, and pickleball courts out at Frank Hammond Park. There's definitely been a demand for additional pickleball, so that'll be included to add it to the 3 existing tennis courts at the site from this proposal. So we had sought proposals, only received one from Thermoseal, who recently just painted our the other courts that put where we added pickleball on the existing tennis. And to do the courts out at Frank Hammond, we have the one proposal at $45,624. This was an anticipated expense. We have $40,000 that was previously in a bond issue for it, and we can also have the balance can be paid from other available old bond issue balances that are outstanding for us. So we are recommending the award of the Frank Hammond Sports Courts improvements to Thermoseal at a cost of $45,624.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
I'm assuming the track is gonna be at a later date. You guys
Track
still,
later, yeah, that's gonna be a bigger cost, unfortunately.
the K-Town's more uses it for their track.
All right.
Should charge them like.
And law fireworks.
Next up is the Centennial Park new golf building award.
Yeah, so we put this out to bid, as you're aware, for the new golf buildings. We had 2 bids come in from Hassey Construction Company and from Garia. We did that opening last week. We have in your packet is a recommendation letter from Tom Kuhn of CSK Architects, who's here to speak to this as well. I also wanted to share with you that the clerk's office, based upon both of those bids that were submitted, has said that there's a little over $4 million remaining from the settlement of the litigation that was outstanding at from the clubhouse lawsuit. So the financial reason should not be a reason not to move forward with the project, at least from that perspective. There are 4 main reasons that we previously identified that why these new buildings would be built in the location that's being considered. The golf buildings will be built on steel pilings that will go down to bedrock or other firm ground. That did not occur with the previous building. The location of the new buildings is in an area outside of the solid waste boundary from the former landfill, which is in accordance with direction from IDEM. Moving the location to the new golf buildings closer to the driving range and the entrance to the golf course will give golf operations better supervision and access control to both facilities once it's in operation. And the plan to continue to use the existing clubhouse for pro shopping and golf storage is available to us until these new buildings are built. So that was the main reasons why we're doing it. We have a recommendation that was reviewed by Attorney Wickland, and he had no issues with that. And with that, I'm going to let Tom speak a little bit further with his details about the particular bids. We're looking to award the base bid number 1 and add alternate number 2.
Hi, Mark.
Thanks, Tom.
So we're recommending also awarding, in addition to the base bid, alternate bid number 2. It's for the shelter. Alternate bid number 1, we're recommending to reject that. Alternate bid number 1 was for a custom built shelter that we designed, alternate with a complete structural floor, similar to the other buildings. Alternate bid number 2 is a pre-engineered shelter that you see a lot in other parks like Wicker and Central Park in Griffith.
Which is the majority of types of shelters we have in all of our parks.
Yeah, and they're beautiful. They're made locally in Michigan. And we're supporting those just on filings at the columns, not to get in the weeds, but that eliminated a structural floor slab. We're fairly confident that based upon the existing conditions up there that at grade or slabs on grade and paving at grade are somewhat stable. And if the floor slab sinks a ½ an inch, it's not going to affect it. So.
And the
But we're gonna save over $100,000. Sorry, we're gonna save over $100,000 by doing alternate bid number 2 over bid number 1. So
alternate bid 2 is the building on the side, the shelter on the side.
it's just a shelter, an open
Like a picnic shelter.
That little structure on the side, like outside the building,
Exactly.
near the building. at
The
open-
open air shelter, that would be east of the little golf shanty building.
Sounds good.
What's the time frame from building standpoint and understanding supply chain?
I've asked Hassie Construction to put together a preliminary project schedule, so that we can sit down. It should take them a week or two to put that together. And we can sit down and have a pre-construction meeting, with Mark and discuss the best opportunity to start construction. We obviously don't want to start construction until it's optimal, based on, the structural floor slabs might be an issue as well. Some of the heating equipment might be an issue.
It will.
Yeah, the same thing we're running into everywhere.
All right, cool. So you need a motion or?
So with that, I would ask you to, if you're willing to approve this, to award it, award the Centennial Park View Pro Shop and Cart Storage Facilities to Hassie Construction Company Incorporated at a figure of $3,559,400, which includes the base bid and alternate number 2, while rejecting add alternate number 1, subject to the attorney's review of that contract.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, somebody needs to move to adjourn.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you July 18th.
July 18th.
Productive meeting.
Yeah. So all of you have a lot of important things. Not really.